Welcome to Heartstrings and Life Lessons. My name is Deborah. I'm going to be talking about on this channel about some of the situations I've been in and some of the lessons I learned along the way. It could be any subject, whatever. I'm just on here to share that with y'all and to get some feedback from you all about things that I've been through, like get your perspective on it. But anyway, we are going to start with today's video. So today's video is going to be a story time, and this story time is about the time that my landlord walked into my apartment without permission or notice and was yelling at me and banging on the daggone bedroom door. So I will give y'all a little bit of an intro on what's going on, and I have notes so I don't forget to tell you anything. What I would like to say is that thankfully I am no longer in that situation, and that has brought me a tremendous amount of relief. I won't even say some kind of relief. It was a tremendous amount of relief. So let me set the scene for you. Okay, so let's start at the beginning of this story. I'm sorry I'm looking away. I'm just sitting out in the parking lot waiting for my sister, but I wanted to get this done. So it started in January of this year, January 27th to be exact. Well, maybe a few days before that. So my landlady informed the building that she was going to have a contractor come through to put weather stripping on the apartment doors. So she said if we weren't home, she was going to let them in with our permission. So I never gave her that permission, but it turns out that he didn't come into my apartment that day anyway. So that was on a Thursday, I think. So she told me he was going to come to my place on Friday to do the door. So I'm thinking, okay, she's giving me a decent amount of notice, so okay, cool. He didn't show up. So on Saturday, the 27th of January, I'm in my bed, my bedroom door is closed. I'm chilling because I'm exhausted. Like, it's the weekend and I'm about to vegetate because the week was rough. But I hear somebody in my apartment yelling my name and knocking on my bedroom door. I look out and it's her. I am glad that I didn't have anything in my hand, because that's a scary situation and I could have really hurt her. So I think she probably should be a little bit lucky too. So after she came in and I opened the door and she's just yelling at me like I'm somebody's child, she proceeded to tell me about all of these things that I can't have in my apartment, and that she just basically she walked through my apartment and just looked around at everything. So she proceeded to tell me that I can't have my shelf in front of the window with the plants on it because it's a fire hazard. She said that I couldn't have my countertop dishwasher. She also said I couldn't have my elliptical machine, and she said all that's in the lease. It was not. But nevertheless, I let her, because she came in with some kind of white jug or something in her hand. So I'm sitting here like, okay, well, let her go ahead and do what she wanted, to pour something down the drain. So I'm like, okay, cool. So she did that. Then she comes back talking about she has some mail for me and she wants to pour some hot water down the drain. Like I couldn't pour the hot water myself. So I let her do her thing, and that was over. Fast forward to, I think, the following Monday. So that would have been, I think, the 29th of January. I get a text message saying that I have this, well, a text message saying that this is my 60-day notice to rectify the lease violations, or she was going to take legal action against me, like all the way up to possibly being asked to leave. And she said, based on our recent inspection. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, because we didn't schedule an inspection. You didn't tell me you were inspecting anything. You illegally walked into my apartment, and then you walked around looking through and at everything. So if that's an inspection, and my hair is green, like, I was so pissed off. So I responded to her text messages and told her, like, I didn't know we had a scheduled inspection. So this is a little bit crazy. I don't know if there's a misunderstanding, but there was nothing mutually agreed upon between the two of us about you coming in to inspect the apartment. And you've never inspected the apartment the whole time that you've been back and you took over the bill. I just want to kind of throw in there that after that whole situation went down, I've kind of felt like my home was gone. I felt like I don't have the right to my privacy. I don't have the right to request a 24-hour notice. I'm not safe anymore. And what the heck is she going to do now? Like, she went this far and did this. Like, I just didn't feel safe. My anxiety shot through the roof. My depression kicked in. It was a all-out nightmare. So I contacted a lawyer, and I was telling her everything that was going on. I told her about my chronic pain, my fibromyalgia, my arthritis, all of that. And she asked me to reach out to my doctor so that I could get an accommodations letter for my dishwasher and my elliptical machine. And I think everything spun out of control from there. So when she said that we needed to talk, I also reached out to my attorney and said now she wants me to come down to her apartment and she wants to talk to me. She said you can give her my information. So I sent a text back to my landlord saying that you know, like, what do we need to talk about? Like, she never responded. Like, she acted like she didn't see, you know, what the message that I had sent her. So sorry for looking away. It's very distracting. So she didn't respond, and I was basically like, well, I'm going to have to refer you to my lawyer to have a conversation about this whole situation. So my lawyer reached out to her by phone. She didn't acknowledge the accommodations letter, and she told her that she has an attorney. She wouldn't give her attorney's name. And she said, my attorney said she was really hostile during the phone call, and I can believe it because that's the kind of person that she has been. Like, I can't even give her grace for that. Like, that's how she's been. So then the email string started between her attorney and my attorney. So my attorney asked about the accommodations letter, and I got my papers with because she gave me a whole print out of like the communications. So I'm gonna be looking on here so I could tell y'all what the heck. Where's my page one? Okay, so the part that I wanted to tell you is when my attorney reached out to her attorney about the accommodations, Her attorney said, in as much as your client may appear to have certain disabilities, it seems that finding accommodations in a more suitable apartment building will actually be the most prudent course of action. He says, I'm happy to discuss with you any reasonable resolution to this situation, and I'm sure landlady would be willing to write a letter of recommendation for your client. So her attorney also, I don't know how inept he is with email or not, but he was sending the emails back and forth to her, and he sent her an email without my landlady's portion of the his conversation with her redacted. So in that message, my attorney saw where he told the landlady just some entertainment from this attorney, all nonsense, petty, etc. And he also told my attorney that the building is old, and perhaps if your client needs modern conveniences, she should find alternative accommodations that would safely support the electrical demand, blah, blah, blah. When her attorney and my attorney were talking about my accommodations, he said something about, in as much as she seems to have disabilities, and that's not a direct quote, but that's just like me summing it up. In as much as she seems to have certain disabilities, like she can find different accommodations, blah, blah, blah. And he didn't really get into it. Like he kept sidestepping that accommodation conversation. So when they did actually talk about it, and my attorney brought it to his attention because he kept acting like, he said to her about, like she told him I have these certain disabilities, and the elliptical and the dishwasher would be helpful to me for, excuse me, will be helpful to me to help me decrease my pain. He said, as far as the dishwasher, he's like, well, how long can she stand? Oh, well, what she can do is use one dish and then wash it. It only takes 20 seconds. And then as far as the elliptical, for like to kind of keep exercising and also decreasing my pain, he said she can go to the YMCA. And my attorney was saying that he was discriminating against me. And he said it's not a discrimination to say that she should find a new apartment. And the things that he said about my accommodations was not discrimination. But then he comes back with a message saying that my landlady agreed for me to be able to keep the elliptical and the dishwasher. Then he turns around and he says, oh, the dishwasher is a hazard. My attorney said basically, what is the hazard for her having a dishwasher? He told her the building is old and it only runs on so many amps, blah, blah. She said, well, that's typical for everywhere, and basically, how is it a hazard? So needless to say, January, February, and March, I barely saw my landlady, first of all, which was a blessing to me because I was in there walking on eggshells. I was in there feeling like I didn't even want to walk through the apartment door. I was feeling like crap. And to top everything off, our bedrooms were wall to wall. So I felt like I couldn't freely speak in my apartment because she would listen to what I was saying. Not saying that she did, but that's how I felt. Like I just overall didn't feel safe. I didn't have quiet enjoyment of my apartment. I felt like I didn't have a right to ask for just the minimum of what's required of a landlord, like a 24 hours notice, unless it's an emergency. But anyway, we're gonna move on a little bit. So in May, after we had gone through all of that and her asking my attorney, when am I going back to work and all of these things. So in May, one evening I walk into the kitchen, so the front door is right by the kitchen. So I see an envelope on the floor, and I'm like, oh Lord, what the hell is this? So I open it, and it says 60-day notice to vacate. So she wanted me to be out by July 31st. So I'm like, wow, okay. Well, that kind of sprang me into action to reach out to the landlord tenant division of my county. So I told them the whole story. The lady was on the phone, and she was like, oh my, oh, like the things he said to the lawyer, the things he said about my supposed disabilities, and just his overall tone in the communication back and forth. So she said she would reach out to the landlady, and then she would get back to me. So it took a few days, and I think she went on vacation too. So it took a few days, and she comes back and said that she was able to talk to the landlady's attorney. And it went down like, because my lease was month to month. I had a lease for 2 years before she had come back from wherever the hell she was to then take over the building. And after the 2 years, it had gone month to month, no problem. But they said because my lease was month to month, that for any reason whatsoever, she could ask me to leave. And I was saying, like, with all of these things going on right here, like I told them, I felt like it was retaliation. They told me I couldn't prove retaliation. And I'm like, I don't understand. You know, all the things I went to, I gave you my attorney's timeline and emails and everything. It's mighty funny that for 3 years I've been month to month, and as soon as I stand up for myself, I get a 60-day notice to vacate. So that just went down the hill. It was nothing I could do about that. I just had to kind of wrap it up and start packing and figure out my next move. So I couldn't find like what I would consider an appropriate place for me within that time frame. So I actually wound up moving like 55 miles away from where I live, which is 55 miles away, 56, 57 miles away from my job. So that increased my commute. So like my last day in the apartment was July 31st. Since August 1st, I put over 10,000 miles on my car. And I'm still struggling from like that whole emotional thing. Like, how the heck could she do this? How could the county not support me and see that something needs to be said to her at minimum about how she's running the building? Because she told my attorney she'll run the building however she sees fit. But I felt like I had no recourse. I had also reached out to, what do they call it? I can't remember the name of the department that does the like disability type stuff, about my reasonable accommodation, and they told me it seemed like it was a landlord-tenant issue. Landlord-tenant told me it seems like it was their issue, so I felt like I was just no freaking help whatsoever. No help. So this situation impacted my life so freaking much. Like, my migraines flared up, my fibromyalgia flared up, my depression and anxiety was through the roof. I was talking to my therapist and the mental health nurse practitioner about what was going on with me, trying to get some kind of tools to cope with all of that stuff that was going on. And it was just a freaking nightmare. Like, I'm out of the situation now, and I'm glad that I'm out, but I feel so damaged. Like, I feel like I could never trust anybody again, and I'm already looking for ways to pad myself to protect myself from this happening to me again. It's like PTSD. Like, because I was in there walking around like, what in the world is she going to do to me next? I even said that to my therapist, which is why she's not my therapist anymore. But I even said to her, like, I'm waiting for the other shoe to fall. Like, I know the person that my landlady is. I know the person she is. And I know something's coming because she's being, you know, a little too quiet. And then they're being snippy and nasty in the emails and all that. So something is coming. And her comment to me was that I can't worry about what I don't know is going to happen. Well, damn sure of what I exactly told her was going to happen happened. So it wasn't like unjust or unfounded that I felt the way I felt, like the other shoe was going to drop, because I've seen this lady do this before. Like, so many people have come and gone. One girl, I don't even think she stayed 6 months, and next thing you know, oh, she's moved out, the door code has changed. I'm like, it's got to be something, because before she came back and moved in the building and took over, it was beautiful to live there. I dealt with her brother who I signed the lease with. He was amazing. He will come and do the yard and everything every Saturday. Like, I had so much quiet enjoyment. I absolutely loved living there. And then she came and she just, to me, she ruined my oasis. She ruined my safe space. And I'm still working on being able to kind of trust and know that I'm going to get all of that back, but it's just completely hard. And I wanted to share this story because I know I'm not the only one who has a crazy landlord story. I just want you to know that if these things are happening to you, document it real time. Date, time, conversation, or date, time, event. I'm sorry. Speak to an attorney if you feel like things are unfair. Point blank. Fair housing. That's who it's this old brain right here, but it was fair housing about the accommodations. But also, yeah, if you think that you're being discriminated against based on disability or something like that, reach out to your fair housing office wherever you live. You can absolutely pull a team together to help you. You don't have to do this by yourself. You are not alone unless you put yourself in an alone space. Thank you all for listening to my story. I hope that hearing what I had to say can bring you some encouragement or a sense of peace if you're going through craziness. I mean, just to know that there are people out there that can help you, even if it's not the county. But there are people out there that can help you out in a situation like this, especially when you don't feel as though you're prepared or you don't know all the lingo or all the rules. Definitely there are people out there to help you. I mean, we all freaking deserve to have our peace and our solace and our his car. Why is he driving all the way to the back of the empty parking lot? Anyway, we all deserve to have our safe space, our peace, and our tenant rights, and we should fight for it. I would really like and appreciate your feedback on this. If you're a tenant going through this, if you're an attorney, if you just want to give me your feedback, please leave that down in the comments for me. I'm so curious to hear what other people think about this situation. Thank you all for watching, and know that I do have some other videos lined up. And I'm going to get them all planned out and done. Again, thank you for watching, and have an amazing day. Bye.